should be back. Should be back. Refresh. Refresh all. All right, so we've cleaned up our base. You just need to grab your goo. Sticky tack in a nice ball always wins when it goes up against sticky tack that is in disarray and shreds. I could also use this to pull my sticky tack slowly off of here, although I might need to do a fingernail a bit to get it up a little bit first. But eventually I'd be able to use this sticky tack to take all the sticky tack off this little base if I wanted to. Just would take a little bit of time and a little bit of work, but it would clean up pretty good in the end. So that said, so yeah, so now since this is a very heavy model and it is going to a gallery, I will do the brush on sealer. The reason that I like the brush on sealer a little better than spray sealer is I had an experience years ago where I was sealing models because I was mailing them to Darksword because I used to do a lot of work for Jim. And they essentially, Turgeon, it was the only real matte figure spray. It was a nice thin spray and it was actually matte. Whereas a lot of sprays in the olden days that said they were matte were actually more like a satin. It's just coming from the art industry. But Tester's Dull Coat was the actual matte spray. But then Tester's was bought and the formulation was changed. So most of us don't use the new product. But even so, okay, so I was painting for Darksword and I mailed Jim a metal model. I had used brush on sealer on it because I had been out of Dull Coat or something and I decided to use the Reaper brush on. And it arrived with a bent sword. And Jim said that the paint had essentially kind of bent away or bubbled away from the surface at the bend. But when he straightened the sword, the paint just went straight back on. And the reason for that is that a spray sealer is going to be more brittle than a brush-on sealer. Brush-on, it's different formulation, it's a different application. So when you're spraying something on, you're essentially throwing a bunch of tiny pebbles of sealer at your surface. When you're brushing on, you're getting more of a latexy type of coating like you would with paint. And so after that, I always used brush-on sealer on my shipped models because I like the flexibility of the surface and that it is less brittle, and I think it's a little less prone to chip. If you really want to do the high like durability one, you do what people have been doing for ages and do a gloss sealer first, but then you really do have to have a matte sealer over the top of that. And since Dull Coat has changed, you know. That's awesome, Kroniko. Right, yeah. And if you want that glossy finish, fine. But when you're like me, doing this little freehand Big Apple, gloss finish kills freehand. Like, fine detail in freehand, gloss finish will essentially just hide it. Like, you won't see it because the shiny surface is so distracting. It makes it really harder to see fine detail. So, oh yeah, you've got to let the gloss fully cure before you put the matte layer on. Otherwise, you risk fogging. Back to being a satin? That's so disappointing. Yeah, I just use brush on now. But yeah, so like little tiny details really get hidden when you have a gloss. It's just there'll be so much light reflecting off the surface that you just can't see it. So It really isn't a matter of thickness or thinness, though, Gibson. That's just an illusion. I mean, you can put on several layers of spray and get pretty thick, but it really is the chemical materials, like the resins that you have to use in a solvent-based spray, are different than the ones that you use in an acrylic brush-on sealer. Like, it's just a different beast, completely chemically. All right, I have a little bit of touch-up on the hair. I touched up the pipe a second ago. I think I have a little bit of touch-ups along the bottom of the dress. Let's see here. Gotta grab a bunch of stuff here. That's yeah. Okay. But yeah, so it goes beyond just a thicker or thinner coat. It really does come down to chemical properties as well. In my experience, anyway. Though you are right that with the solvents, you know, a lot of what you see when you spray it on evaporates. Little touch up on the hair. Oh, Kodiak, they've been using 3D printing for a while to make masters. Ever since people like Bobby started doing 3D sculpting, we've had several 3D printers at Reaper. I don't know. Direct production? Well, I mean, if we can make it work. I mean, companies are doing it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we would be selling them for production unless we had a lot of experience with it beforehand. But yeah, we've had several 3D printers, but we were using them for master printing. I'd find it a little surprising if we did it for. I mean, for STLs, it makes sense if we're going to sell STLs. Like that seems like a logical evolution. Since if you have enough people in your buyer base that have their own 3D printers, it seems natural to go toward selling some things in STL. But I don't know. I am thoroughly out of the loop, so I can be ignorant. Hey there, Moonlight. Yeah, and for direct production, I mean, the thing is, like, Big Child does do 3D print for direct production on some of their stuff. It seems to me that works if if it's a product you don't have a ton of sales for, like the bus, you know, they probably have plenty of time to print out enough bus to satisfy demand. Maybe it's complicated. It is Moonlight. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Ooh, butterfly. Looks like a monarch butterfly. I don't know if it's that season, though. It is definitely patterned like a monarch butterfly. Hello, butterfly. Sorry. All the wildlife out my back window totally always distracts me. Oh, hey, it's a pup date time, guys. We'll do a pup date and then we'll seal the mini. Let me just hit the edges of the dress here. I think it's the last thing I've got to touch up before we seal her, and she is done. Oh, I don't think we're stopping with Bones. Like, I think as we get more into the Bones USA, I think we'll get, you know, we'll start going more and more in that direction. I'm not sure about the big models, though. We don't have a Bones USA solution for big models yet. Just looking at some touch-ups on the edges of the dress. Now, these edges are probably going to continue to rub off just because she's not. This would be a reason to put her on a proper plinth where she would be able to sit, and then you wouldn't touch the edges of the dress, right? If you had her on a wood thing. But with the models going around, I have very few little wooden plinths. I'm not gonna do that, I think. But it would be a reason. Like, this sort of model that hangs over the edge and it's metal, these edges are definitely gonna rub off. Just a little bit, but they will. Can't 3D print Bones USA STLs and sell cheaper than Reaper sells Bones USA, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is that. That is the problem, Velander. Yeah, because, I mean, unless you just don't care. But large companies tend to care. Like, I don't know if this would even work, but I mean, in books, there's something to be said. Like, some authors are okay with letting their titles get ripped off and put on pirate sites because essentially it gives them more exposure. And they end up making sales off of it when people come back to them to buy the book because they enjoyed it. But I don't know if that works for miniatures. I don't know if there's like I mean, you also still do have that segment of the population that just wants it free, right? So, yeah, I don't know. It is complicated. I think that's the best answer. Is it really is complicated. As far as printing models to sell for some of the stuff, maybe that's not in Bones USA. There is the manpower of cleaning those models, the manpower, additional manpower cost, and the time. Those 3D printers get faster, that may get to be less of a thing. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Bones USA is a very good kind of a... I think it's a really good material. Yeah, digital rights management is, I mean, most authors will choose, at least most indie authors, and will choose not to enable digital rights management. Like they would much rather have the more people reading their work. I mean, DRM, I agree, DRM is kind of flawed as it stands. All right, let's get Pup Date, and then let's put some sealer on that model. Pup Date. Where are you, Pup Date? Let's see here. Pup Date. So first of all, Zammy. This is the mommy of the puppies when she was a youngster on her wobble board at her puppy class. She's very good. She was very good on it. Let's see here. Oh, Bridget posted a big long post about doglets. Okay, new space. She set up a brand new space with things they had never met before, like a giant stuffed animal. That puppy is like, what is that? I think that might be Keyleth. Keyleth is like, what are you, giant lizard thing? Oh, yeah, Ilona Andrews, yep. That's, yeah. Big authors have more to lose. Big authors definitely have more to lose by letting their stuff be on those sites, but on the other hand, like, eh. Oh, blurry. Blurry puppies in the basket. Puppies exploring giant things. Oh, Zammy watching over. So Bridget has been trying to do more time with the pups in like twos. Zammy investigating, other dogs hanging out, playing with the stuffed animal. Puppies exploring. Oh, Ben with one of the puppers. Oh, that would be Vax. Oh, Nova being skeptical of the whole thing. Or Zam being skeptical. She's like, I'm now ready for a break. Let's see. I think I showed you guys the selfie photos. Grog in the selfie photo. He's a big one. He's going to be a big one. He'll be probably 18 to 20 pounds. He's at 6 weeks. Grog was the heaviest, but Vax is right next to him at 13 pounds. So probably 2 to 3 pounds a week means between 17 and 20 pounds for the end. But yeah, not many pup dates today. Alrighty. But yeah, not too many pup dates because they're a lot of work right now. Ah! as I drop the mini and promptly clang it against my my palette. However, only one tiny spot rubbed off, as you can see right there. Now, if you get a serious chip, guys, I would recommend doing a little bit of primer and then the touch-up. Like, if you get a serious chip that takes it all the way down in the metal and it's fairly large, I would definitely consider doing that. Yep. Well, on Valendar these days on Amazon, you got the look inside that lets you read the first 10% of the book for free. And that lets you decide if you actually want to buy the rest. But yeah, I mean, if somebody can try out the author, then you're more likely that they're going to be like, oh, I like this author's writing. I like these characters. I'm going to buy the story. For sure. A little bit of touch up here. Actually, that's a choice. That's the author. Kuroniko, that's the author's choice for Kindle Unlimited. Although, if you're on KU, you know, you get page reads for free. There are books that you can read just for free. I guess, I thought KU, though, was always like you could read as many books as you wanted for free if it was in KU. Whereas when you see stepped pricing like that, that's more often an author choice, and what they're trying to do is exactly what you say. They're trying to help you get into the series. So a lot of will do perma-free first book. Alrighty. Sealer. Sealer. Where's my sealer? There it is. Shake very well. Oh, UK may work differently. Yeah, that's true, Kuroniko. Hadn't thought about that. Maybe Amazon is experimenting. I mean, they're always iterating. Here in the States, I know I could download, like, when I was on Kindle Unlimited, I could download up to 8 books, and then I could undownload one to add a new one and stuff like that. Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of the older authors, especially Valendar, right? Like Mercedes Lackey, I mean, her first books came out when I was a teenager. I got into her books when the first one, Arrows of the Queen, came out. But as, you know, as time goes by, you become less relevant and there's more competition out there. So people like Mercedes Lackey, who have a massive backlist of books, like, are absolutely into the free taste thing, because, like, that actually introduces the new generations of readers to their work, where otherwise they might get buried under all the other new and shinies. So I see, Kuroniko. Interesting. Yeah, so kind of a variant on what they do here in the States. Which is interesting because, like, when you put your book up on KU, it goes up on KU, I think, at least in all English-speaking countries. Obviously, I've been doing a lot of reading on this because I'm about to publish next year with Kindle Unlimited. I'm going to go Amazon first and see how it goes. And then we'll see. The downside of Kindle Unlimited, of course, being that you can't offer your books on other platforms which tend to reach other countries. Okay, so I'm going to do 5 drops of sealer after I've shaken it very well. And I'm going to do 1 drop of water. I heard there was a TV series in the works. All right, I want to use a slightly bigger brush to apply all this because I want to go over the surface pretty quick. I think I might use my monster brush actually. Monster brush. All right, I'm going to try it a little bit on her hair and see if I like the finish. If you want a satin finish, then use the sealer straight up. Don't thin it. If you want it to matte out a little more, thin it. Don't thin it too much though, or you'll lose the protective property. I'm gonna let that dry, just so I can make sure that I like the finish. I've been reading a lot of new authors lately because I have my book club, my writer's book club. So I've been reading a lot of the newer stuff in fantasy and science fiction, which otherwise I might not have noticed. There's so many books out there. That's a bummer, Dog Father. I'm sorry. I know how hard that is. What do we got? All right, yeah, it's about time. I'm just gonna, I think I like the finish, so I'm going to, I just noticed a spot that I missed. You always notice those spots that you missed toward the end. And my paint is really not having fun today. Come on, paint. All I need is a tiny dab of you. Man. Boop. Sometimes I just take the nipple top off of my... Obviously, I need a new bottle of Lantern Yellow because this one is exhausted. Totally exhausted. Where am I? There it goes. Just needed a little bit of further highlight. Realized I feel like I need a little bit more highlight on her earrings. A little bit of highlight. There we go. And that gives the hair time to dry, and I think the finish is pretty good, so I'm going to go with that. And grab my big brush and continue to brush sealer over the top. And I'm just going to kind of loosely do it. If you put a lot of water in your sealer, you may notice it gets bubbly. If you see any bubbles, you can just blow on the model to break them. Like there's some bubbles. I added a little more water, so I'm getting a lot of bubbles, but it's okay. Most of them will break on their own. Get all of this. Just go right over the top of it. Don't care about bubbles at all. Get the floor. Now I'm going to grab my brush, rinse it out real quick, and dry it off a little, and wick off any big excess. I don't want big pools of the sealer. So I'm going to hit the edges and wherever I see it pooling. You should thin sealers, Kodiak. I find that I get a more matte layer if I thin the sealer. I have thinned it about 5 to 1 to start with on this, and I probably added another drop in there, so 4 to 1. That's about how much I thin the brush-on sealer. I don't so much thin the gloss one, because the gloss one, if you want it to be glossy, you need to apply 1 or 2 thick layers. But the brush-on sealer for Reaper, in my opinion, to get a nice matte finish, should be thinned 5 to 1 or 4 to 1. And I always pull excess off. I don't let it pool. No, Kaz. I'm out of the Reaper loop. Like, I'm just another person. And unless I remind people to get me samples of the new stuff, then I won't get the new stuff. But if I don't even know the new stuff exists, then I really won't get the new stuff. Nobody told me they had super washes. All right, so I'm gonna let this dry, and then I am gonna do a layer all around the base to make sure I'm not splotchy on the base. Oh, they revealed them on Reaper Live last night. Good. Knew they were aiming that direction. There we go. Ah, they'll be in one of the ReaperCon boxes. So the first look promo, pretty cool. Yeah, I can get David to pick some up for me, I'm sure. Either that or I can hit up John to mail some out to me. Yeah, I'll be interested to see how they do. There we go. Now we're drying off. We can see that the shine is going down. I grab the model very gently, grab my sealer, and do a nice coat along the outside because I did paint this base. So I want the finish to be protected. Hold on to the model very gently while you're doing this. Alrighty. Now I'm going to put her over here, let her dry fully. Put her over on my palette. And there we are, guys. We went a little bit long. That's all right, though. Yeah, who knows until you actually use them. Exactly. Well, and if they're like that, I can see why they wouldn't tell me about it, because it's not really, like, something that I would probably use. Like, I could maybe use it and give you an idea, like, how to best use it, but, like, usually we don't do, like, washes, or if we do, we're doing very specific washes on the show. So I could see how Reaper would feel like maybe it's not in my toolkit. We'll see. Yeah, see, Rhonda's been showing sneak peeks. Yeah, I figured that Rhonda would be. Rhonda tends to be like Reaper's test person as far as that stuff goes, as far as sneak peeks and stuff. And I'm more like the I guess we're doing our own thing. I could probably get some, though, if you really want me to look at them. There we go. All right. There she is. And you can see how, yeah, the sealer's still drying on the base here, but it gives it a nice sheen. And she's all pretty. She's all pretty. Yes. Have a great weekend, guys. I'm going to go and take my walk and relax, have my tasty lunch. And yeah. Yes, don't melt, please, Cornico. Please don't melt. Yeah, I think she turned out really well. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, have a good weekend. Oh, I am going to be streaming tomorrow on my own channel, twitch.tv/paintingbig. We'll probably continue work on this lady. I am going to be working on the bronze on her and the white, I think. So, yeah, tomorrow at 3:30 USA Central Time, I will be on twitch.tv/paintingbig working on this lovely priestess. Thanks, y'all. And have a good one. Bye-bye.